The Fed gives the market the finger. What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, September the 24th. And of course, the Fed did it again, giving the market the giant FU and telling them that they don't really give a shit about where they are, about inflation, or about anything else, under the excuse that they're trying to reduce inflation to 2%. But really what they're trying to do is to destroy the middle class, to destroy the small business, and destroy every walk of life that we have grown up knowing what should be. And to me, this is just another criminal offense at a lack of understanding of economies, a lack of common sense, and a lack of any regard for the average working man and woman. I think that this has been one major disaster after another. And of course, as we said, when this all started, the Fed would fuck it up. And of course, here it is right in front of you. And of course, we saw the markets get hammered last week. We'll talk about more about in our market report. But in the meantime, once again, the government shutdown is looming. And, you know, like the government shutdown and the UAW, I'd like to see them both shut down. Okay. I mean, this government ridiculous spending, the money being sent everywhere but where it belongs, the continued freedom. I mean, you have a budget crisis once again. And why is it that there's always a budget crisis in Washington and many of the other states around the globe, around the country? Because they're spending our money faster than we can pay it. You have a major disaster in the oil markets, and of course, you're now paying in certain places in the country over $6 a gallon. And of course, really what that's doing is it's lining the pockets of the government because there's a federal tax on gas. And of course, it's interesting in Texas now, they are starting to charge the equivalent tax to those who are charging their Teslas and their other electronic vehicles. But, you have McCarthy, who is apparently a very bad choice as the Speaker of the House, who is accusing the GOP hardliners of trying to burn the whole place down. And you know what? Wouldn't it be nice to see Washington burn down and get rid of all the special interests, get rid of the deep state, and actually rebuild the government the way it was meant to be? I mean, but of course, again, what you have to remember is whether you be a Republican or a Democrat, okay, the politicians are there stealing, okay? They're taking your money, or how else can you explain the top 10% of Congress and the Senate having a net worth of over $4.8 billion? You explain that to me, how they've accumulated that kind of wealth, okay, on a $174,000 a year job. But I think McCarthy's doing a horrible job as usual. And I do think that the hardliners should take a stand and shut down the government. And whether it pushes unemployment to 4%, 5%, or 6%, I don't think it really matters. I think it's time to take a stand and bust out the unions and bust out the broken government. Because again, we're paying money that is not getting used properly. We've been taxed to death through other methods, not necessarily through the income tax model, which is, Biden saying that he's not raising your taxes, but everywhere else that you go, you are paying much more taxes because everything that we do has a tax on it. And as we said last week, which I have confirmed, that the reason we're buying crude oil from Saudi Arabia and OPEC is so the price at the pump is higher, so the federal tax take is higher. Okay. Add to that, you've got a corrupt Zelensky from Ukraine begging for money. And of course, you've got President Biden giving him the money. Now, why are we still supporting this war, this police action, this whatever you want to call it? It is nothing more than another money grab. And do you think that that's where we should be? Do you think that we want to continue to fund those people Okay. Maybe we should fund the United States of America. Okay. And of course, you've got the Biden claiming that the border crisis is being undermined and being done is being done by the Republicans who are undermining security. Okay. Now I don't know where you stand on the border security and on the entrance of illegal aliens, but I'm against it, and I think that it's becoming an epidemic proportions here as we look at what's going on in major cities. You've got O'Hare Airport now being used for housing for illegals. Again, I do not want to pay for illegal aliens in this country. I do not want to have criminals imported into this country. We have enough already here, let alone do we need more. Okay. And of course, you've got the high price of fuel tied in with now mortgage rates at 23-year highs. So you are now putting together a place where people cannot live. Okay, you have a place where you have a president making false claims that has no clue what's going on, because obviously there is somebody behind him, because he is more acting like, there's a ventriloquist behind him calling everything that needs to be done. Okay, we have been lied to about the jobs. And of course, it's not really that we have been lied to, it's that we don't pay attention to all of the revisions that come up. We've got Kamala Harris now being put in charge of destroying the Second Amendment. Okay, now I don't know about you, and I'm not advocating anything, but the Constitution was written and had worked perfectly until government grew out of control. Okay, and this just didn't start with this administration, but when you start trying to strip the rights and the freedom away from people, I think you are creating a very, very serious condition. And, I think that, allowing our government to spend money that they don't have, but they know that they can raise from the taxpayer, because once again, the banks are in trouble. And do you think that we are not going to see, when the banks go under once again, that you and me, the American taxpayer, are not going to get to pay for it, the privilege of paying for it? I think that it's about time, America, that you wake up and decide you are tired of funding a broken down government. Doesn't matter which party you reside under, but it's time that you took your frickin' head out of the sand and quit hiding, because it didn't have a direct effect on you today, but at the end, it will always affect you. And if you're going to sit back and do nothing, shame on you. You're going to lose all your money to government programs to support people that you don't want to support for reasons you don't want to be there. And to me, it makes absolutely no sense. And I'm sick and tired of it. And I'm sick of watching my tax dollars being lit on fire by a bullshit government. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, September the 24th, and I hope you're having a great weekend. Meantime, we're going to step out of here for a break, and we'll come back with our market report right after the break. What's up, kids? Well, of course, as you know, we talk about our partners at the break on Bubba's Bottom Line, and of course, we've got a couple of brokerage partners. Now, mind you, I have many brokers, just to give you full disclosure, but the two best for what I want to do and for what I do are Capital Trading Group, CTG, for our commodities and futures trading. They are the best customer service. They have the LOD products, which is letter of direction trading, available. Okay, and they take care of you, the customer, the member, and that couldn't make me happier, which is why they have all my accounts as well. And although I have other brokers, I use 99% of the time, I use them, because I know that they're going to take care of my issues and my problems if there's something going on. In the meantime, check them out, info.capitaltradinggroup.com/Bubba. Of course, it's also scrolling on the side. And of course, then there's Trade Your Brokerage. Listen, first of all, it's $10 a month, so it saves me $100,000 a year in commission. Okay. Number two, they can automate many of our programs at no charge to you. The equity portfolio members get free auto trading.
Okay, so everything is done automatically. And what can be bad about that? And of course, again, it's still just $10 a month. Check them out, try.trader.com/Bubba. And again, scrolling on the sides. And of course, our high school program, which we are revamping since we partnered with Target Trading. We are now having meetings to get ourselves back into schools and actually put programs to get to work. So if you'd like to help us out, of course, you can go to highschoolinvesting.com/Bubba Trading. And of course, that is also scrolling along the bottom. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line and, of course, my market commentary. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, September the 24th. And of course, it's football day, so we'll have our selections later. But as we look at the markets last week, I mean, they got blistered. Okay. And basically, mostly after the Federal Reserve, even Friday's rally attempt to come back failed miserably late in the day. And, you know, again, it's not a surprise. We talked about it. And thank you to all of you who cried that I said there'd be beware of the bounce on Thursday's daily update. And of course, the bounce came Friday. Sorry, I was off by a couple of hours. But in the meantime, we had a bounce. And as I told everybody in the morning and wrote to you in the morning, that, hey, this is a selling opportunity. Look for resistance and sell it because this rally is not going to hold. And it looks like we are really starting to get into a period of ugliness in the four major indices, which we are short all four. They are at very crucial levels right now. You're looking ready to potentially break to the downside. And now there could be a bounce, and I would expect some bounces. Again, remember, bear market rallies are vicious, but I do think we're going into a bear market, and I think it's going to get pretty nasty here. But again, you could see change. I mean, we are not officially broken down on the longer term chart. But we are short all four major indices. And of course, the dollar, which we no longer trade, but the dollar continues to charge higher. And I kind of asked the question, well, if BRICS is such a big deal, why is the dollar going up? And of course, the dollar is still the safe haven. There's a lot of reasons to believe it is. We don't trade it, but we would be long. The euro currency, which we are short, continues to get hammered and go lower, which of course makes sense. Bitcoin remains relatively flat. We're short. I mean, again, I believe, even though I'm short on the board in the trading account, I am long own Bitcoin, but I think it's going higher. I mean, I know we're short, and I will stay short there until it reverses. But I think overall, it's a very viable investment vehicle. I think it's going to be good for everybody, but we'll see. And of course, as we look at the bonds and notes, they got clobbered. Interest rates flying higher once again. And I say, as I said before, I'll say it again. I think the 10-year gets to 6% this year. So we'll see. And of course, that will kill mortgages. That'll kill a lot of things. And of course, it's directly designed from the Federal Reserve. But we are short both bonds and notes. In the metals, the precious metals, again, here I go. I ask you the same question. If gold, part of the BRICS, is such a big deal, why is gold going sideways to lower? It was pretty much of a flat week. We are long gold right now. We are short silver, which I'm never a big fan of at these price levels, but we are, again, that's part of the trend. And platinum, we do not trade anymore. We would be long platinum, but of course, it's just not liquid enough for what we do and what we need to do. Copper continues to get hammered, and we're still short. Natural gas was dead flat again, and we're still short. It's just annoying as we get closer and closer to danger time. Nat gas from the short side because of the weather, and crude oil continues to go higher. Now it was flat for the week, but it had some very big pushes towards the upside, and I would suspect that crude oil will probably see $100 before the end of the year, and will continue to be long it, I'm sure. As we look at the grain markets, and this is where I tell you that I think that the Chinese are pushing the grain prices lower. The divergence, the spread between wholesale and retail has never been greater. The cost of input, the cost of production for a farmer, they are operating at a loss right now. And of course, only because they've got a crop on the ground are they going to have to take it out. So they're not going to, throw the money away. But at the end of the day, any farm that misses expectations and doesn't produce enough is going to get killed. And of course, that's kind of the idea of why I think that the Chinese have their finger on the button, keeping the pressure on, because of course they want the farmland so they can control the food supply, because they who control the food supply controls the world. In the meantime, we are short corn, wheat, and soybeans. They were all down. Now, soybeans are interesting, were the worst last week from a chart looking. Both corn and wheat, they were ugly, but they're holding on a fairly key support level. So we'll see how that plays out. And the meats, it's interesting that cattle continues to push higher, all-time record highs. And I'll tell you what I tell you every week: we don't trade them anymore, but we would be long. But I'm short, and I would continue to sell them. The same goes for hogs. What hogs you have, they were down pretty good last week, so they look like they are weakening. And of course, you look out the curve, which is a real key to watching commodities. They are much cheaper as you go out further, so it assumes that October should start dropping as well. In the softs, cocoa was lower, got hammered. We were short. Cotton was lower. We're long. OJ was higher. We are long. Sugar was higher. We are long. Coffee turned a little bit lower, but we did get long during the week in coffee. So at the end of the day, it was a decent week. And of course, we're starting to see markets and trends start to take place. And on the Monday call, I said that the VIX was going to 18. Well, it did get to 1775. So, we'll see. And you could see that push this week to 18. And I think, remember this, in these kinds of markets, look to, in a downtrending market, if you get a higher open, you want to look to be a seller. A lower open more often gives you a chance for a potential bounce. So just be prepared for that. In the meantime, I would still be careful. We're still kind of slow and it's kind of quiet. Still a lot of news coming out. And of course, we're getting ready to go into earnings season in the fourth quarter. So let's, again, be patient, wait for your opportunities. In the meantime, this is Bubba's Bottom Line. Todd Bubba Horowitz. It is Sunday, the 24th of September. We're going to stop out here for our final break and come back with, of course, my commentary. Well, guys, again, I'm not going to go through the whole speech of who is what our partners are about, but I will remind you that Capital Trading Group and Trader Brokerage are two of our partners. And of course, they're scrolling on the sides, and I urge you to check them out. Again, listen, I use them myself, which tells you one thing. I vetted them for you. It tells you another thing. And they're the best in the business, which is, again, you may not like it. Check them out. All you can do is say, hey, it's not for me. But certainly everybody would like to save money as far as I'm concerned. And of course, our high school program, which we're revamping and finally getting back in some good traction. And if you want to help us out, you can check us out on the bottom, High School Investing. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line and with myself, Todd Bubba Horowitz. Welcome back. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, September the 24th. It's football day in America. And of course, each and every week, I give you a little commentary of what's going on. And I got to say to you, I don't really understand what is going on in this country. I don't understand how we as Americans can stand by for what has been going on, for the destruction of your wealth, from the destruction of your small businesses, from your destruction of every walk of life that anybody over the age of 45 knows, okay, what it was like before what we have now. The destruction of your freedom, the taking of your free speech, the taking of everything that you have worked for, the things that made America the greatest. And again, I'm not saying it's still not the greatest, but we are not supposed to be going backwards. We are supposed to be moving forward. And the things that made us great, we're giving them away like it was nothing. And to continue to fund Ukraine and continue to fund the rest of the globe when we have a record amount of homeless in this country and we're not taking care of our own, and yet we're importing our own troubles, what does that tell you about the situation of the government in the United States of America? Hey, only you can change what's going on, because it starts with each and every person, okay, who has to decide, is it more important to worry about the free money, which is not free, that the taxpayers are paying for, or is it more important to be concerned with what we do here and how we take care of our own? I leave that to you, because again, to me, what's going on here is disgusting, and it's criminal, it's treasonous, and it's tyranny. In the meantime, this is Bubba's Bottom Line, Todd Bubba Horowitz, and of course it is football day, and as usual, we'll have a couple of selections for you, and we do like the Los Angeles Chargers. I wanted to say San Diego. Okay. We do like the Cleveland Browns against the Titans. Okay. And our last selection today is going to be the Green Bay Packers over the New Orleans Saints. In the meantime, have a great weekend, everybody. As always, I thank you. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy Football Sunday. We'll see you tomorrow on Monday with Bubba's Daily Update. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you later.